Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about how I plan to recuperate all of the resources that I have lost, because remember, investing into all of those Ecstasis armors was extremely costly. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the very first thing I want to showcase over here is the amount of Meseta I have. As you can see, I currently have 39 million. However, I plan to make back at least 100 million within the next 2 to 3 weeks relatively easily. Now, the method I'm going to be using is actually relatively simple, and you guys can probably do the same as long as you're willing to put in the time and the effort, because it is a tedious process. And one of the items is going to be Dreadkeeper 5. So as we can see over here, Dreadkeeper 5 is going for about 120 to 130,000 each. However, just farming for Dreadkeeper 5 and selling it is not going to net you enough money. What you actually want to do is you want to upgrade your Dreadkeeper 5s into Grand Dreadkeeper 1 and then upgrade that into Grand Dreadkeeper 2. The reason I say this is because Grand Dreadkeeper 2 prices have increased by almost 2 million in the past couple of days. Why is this happening? It's actually relatively simple. It's because farming for Dreadkeeper 5s is incredibly annoying right now, as there isn't a solid way to farm for it other than farming in the Gorge. However, farming in the Gorge, you are at the mercy of RNG, as there are only 2 veteran mobs, and when you kill them, there's a chance of either getting a Dreadkeeper 3, 4, or 5. So if you get a Dreadkeeper 5, good, that's perfect. But if you get anything that's not a Dreadkeeper 5, well, you just gotta keep farming. And so patience is the key over here, as well as, of course, some rare drop rate can never hurt, but you are going to be farming a ton in the Gorge area in order to earn all the Dreadkeepers in order to craft the Grand Dreadkeeper 1s, which you're going to need a couple more of those in order to upgrade those into Grand Dreadkeeper 2s. And so that is why the prices of Grand Dreadkeeper 2 has gone up by over 2 million in the past couple of days, is simply because the supply is drying out. Now, even though we do have the limited time quest coming out next week, I think those gigantics are mainly gonna be dropping Gigastat 4s, and I don't think they will be dropping any Dreadkeeper 5s. And so I believe that the Grand Dreadkeeper 2 prices are going to continually and steadily go up in price. So, you know, it might not be a bad idea to farm a little bit here and there in the Gorge area so that you get a bunch of these Dreadkeeper 5s so that you can craft them and upgrade them and then eventually sell them at Grand Dreadkeeper 2 at these inflated prices. So this is phase 1 of how I'm going to be making money. And if you guys have been tuning to my Twitch live streams, by the way, I stream every single day on twitch.tv/keroppi_sensei. You may have noticed that for the past 3 live streams, we've literally been living in the Gorge after we complete all of our dailies, because, well, this is pretty much a gold mine at the moment. However, starting from next week, if you don't want to farm in the Gorge area because maybe you can't find enough players to farm there efficiently, or maybe you're just bored of it because you've been farming it all week, well, the limited time quest is going to be your next goal. Now, since the limited time quest is going to revolve around gigantic enemies, you are going to get a lot of Gigastat 4s, so you can use those Gigastat 4s in order to craft Gigas Maste. Now, these are just the regular Gigas Mastes, and then if you farm enough dual quests, you'll be able to upgrade those Gigas Mastes into Gland Gigas Maste, which are currently going for 1.5 million. Now, these prices, I believe, will actually go down in price. At the moment, they're going for 1.4, 1.5 million, but I'm pretty confident that when the limited time quest kicks in, these prices are probably going to go down pretty significantly because of the huge influx of all the Gigastat 4s, and it's really just going to be dependent on how much dual quest can you stomach. Because basically the idea over here is you're going to be buying all these Gigastat 4s off the player market, or you're going to farm them yourself. And for this week, if you're not farming for Dreadkeeper 5s, then you're going to be farming a ton of dual quests in order to get all of those Fusia capsules to craft your Gigas Mastes and your Gland Gigas Mastes. And then what you're going to do is, instead of selling them immediately when these prices are going down, is you're going to hold on to them and wait until the 3rd week or the end of the month. The reason for this is because at the end of the month, we're getting that new weapon series. So when the new weapon series starts dropping in Nameless City, that is when there will be a surge in demand as people will be wanting to upgrade from their Iridium weapons or Iridium weapons over to the new weapon, the new 11-star weapon. And so because of that, I would hold off on all of these high-end capsules until that happens and then sell during that time when the prices are high. That is pretty much my strategy on how I'm going to be making back a lot of money. Now, do keep in mind that, a lot of this is going to be very volatile as you are at the mercy of the player market. If someone comes in and just undercuts everyone, well, the market is going to go to crap for a couple of days, but it will stabilize. Now, depending on what ship you play on, it will take longer to stabilize. So for example, on ship 2, since there's a lot of players, it's very difficult for someone to just undercut and destroy the market because there's just so many players. And so even though someone undercuts, someone's just going to come and buy all the items that you undercut and maybe repost them at the average price again. And so it won't really affect the market that much. However, if you're playing on a smaller ship such as ship 4, well, it's a lot easier for a single player if they have enough resources to pretty much create a monopoly. So depending on what ship you're playing on, you're just gonna have to eyeball it and make the best decision for yourself. However, so far I have only mentioned Grand Dreadkeeper 2 as well as Grand Gigas Master. As we can see, one of the best selling items right now is the Grand Gladius Soul, and Lux Hal Finale is not that far behind. So basically, you just want to work on all of these top 6 items over here, as these are all farmable items that you can actually earn by playing the game. So you just want to start slowly stockpiling them, especially with the Lux Hal Finales. You literally have your weekly trade-ins, so just tune into tomorrow's video on the pre-maintenance checklist videos, where I just show you all of the different weekly trade-ins that you should be doing, and you will get a ton of Lux Hal Finales in due time, as it does take a little bit of time in order to create a bunch of these. But nevertheless, that is the most consistent way and requires the least amount of effort. Now, of course, if you want to just farm for it itself, you can do that as well. Now, as for the Grand Gladius Soul, I think a lot of it is going to depend on how much you farm in a PSE combat zone, because you are going to need a bunch of these Starro Souls. As you can see here, I've got 1,200 Starro Souls because I've been farming a lot in Crimson Realm. Now, I find farming Crimson Realm incredibly therapeutic, so when I farm there for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, I don't mind it, because to me, I just shut my brain off, I'm just talking to chat, and I just grind away. So it's very simple for me. However, I know for a fact that, grinding in combat zones isn't everyone's cup of tea, but if you do need a lot of Starro Souls, especially right now with the whole Crimson Realm going on, it is very, very easy to obtain a bunch of these Starro Souls. Now, you can farm Starro Souls even without Crimson Realm, but personally, I just take advantage of Crimson Realm right now since it is a limited time thing, as it does go away after some time. So when it's around, I try to farm it as much as possible. So in conclusion, it really just boils down to farming what people actually want and doing the activities that people don't want to do, which tends to be dual quest. Farming dual quest is incredibly taxing and a little bit boring. However, if you do have all the resources because you farmed all the different game modes, dual quest is pretty much a gold mine in order to create a lot of these high-end endgame capsules. And when people upgrade their weapons and upgrade their armors, there is a lot of money to be made. Now, a little tip or a little hint for a lot of players who are like, Caro, you just destroyed the market, what are you doing? If you play the long game, there is a lot of potential to make a lot more profit. So for example, let's say that you're farming now in preparation for October. The reason I say October specifically is because remember, our Ecstasis armors are going to be upgradable in October, and on top of that, the new 11-star weapons that we'll be able to farm for next week with the whole Nameless City update will also become upgradable in October. So if you are a little bit slower, a little bit more patient, and you're willing to play the long game, maybe you should use this opportunity right now when the market all goes to crap to hoard up a bunch of resources, or better yet, just don't play the market at all and farm everything yourself so you make 100% of the profit, and just hold on to these items until the new armor upgrades drop, until the new weapon upgrades drop, because that gives you plenty of time to farm up items, especially if you're a free-to-play player, because remember, if when you're free-to-play, you're at the mercy of those 3-day shop pass. So my strategy before was, if I can't make over 100 million Meseta with a single 3-day shop pass, I don't use it. So, you know, you've got a month and a half to farm like crazy, to build up all of these resources, to build up all of these things that other players might want, so that when the big upgrade cycle comes along in October, you're ready with your huge stock of items so you can pop that 3-day shop pass and make a ton of money.
Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again.
But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.